Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, I'll call the meeting of the High School Building Committee to order on April 8th, 2020. Thank you all for joining us. This is being recorded live and streamed under the new regulations for open meeting law. We have an agenda and everybody's online, and I will start the meeting by asking folks if there's a cell phone nearby, turn it off so we don't have any interruptions to the meeting. So the first item on the agenda today is citizen speak. If there are citizens that have joined us who would like to comment, this would be the time to do that. And, Mike, you can recognize them?
There are no hands up.
No hands up? Okay. So we'll start the agenda, which is project updates. And thank the whole committee for reaching out and meeting us today. I just want to take us back to the last time we met was we were working on the flyer. And that went rather well. I want to thank the group who worked on that, put a lot of hours in. Kathleen Tringali joined us to run that through the system. They're out in print, and we still have some available for those who haven't seen them. So I want to thank the group for that. The next thing is that there is a model, the first of two models that was built by Kent and his group. It's in the central office meeting room. At some point, we'll get it to be mobile enough to move around so people can see it. But I want to thank Kent and his group for that. So Tom was impressed by seeing it. I had it in my shop for 2 weeks before I could get it out of here and get to the central office with all the stuff that's going on. Next is, as you're well aware, the project's been idled for the last couple of weeks. We have not had meetings. We haven't done anything to do public outreach because of the situation with the coronavirus and the public meeting issues and small group meetings and large group meetings. So what's happened is that we are waiting, quite frankly, for the 4 towns to give us a schedule of when the town meetings are going to be rescheduled and the town elections are going to be rescheduled. More than likely, they will be after the middle of June. And that's important because on February 13th, when the MSBA voted to support the project, that started the 120-day clock, which means that the towns have 120 days to act to allow us to vote and support the project. So the 120 days from February 13th is June 11th. So we are in the process, and I'll let Richard speak about that shortly, of looking to MSBA for an extension to that 120-day clock. And until we have more concrete information, it's all suppositions at this time. So Richard, I know you've had several emails with the team in Boston. So if you could pick up the banner at this point, that'd be great, please.
Thank you. Yes, Richard Marks, speaking to you, not from the ocean, but not far away. And I want to first compliment Greg very much on his starring role. He's doing great so far. So more importantly, and to the point, I have reached out both in emails to the MSBA as well as in a MCPPO refresher course to let them know that we, like probably other towns, are suffering from the effects of not being able to move forward with the public process as quickly as was anticipated when the vote was taken in February. And they have indicated that while there's not a formal procedure in place to extend the 120 days, there is an ability at the staff level, meaning they don't need a board vote or board decision, to extend that 120 days. And initially, they seemed somewhat reluctant to do so. In subsequent emails, they have certainly seemed more willing as the extent of time associated with the state of emergency that's in place has gone on. So while I don't anticipate they'll give us a blanket extension for an undefined period of time, I do anticipate that if we can commit reasonably soon to some sort of a process, that they will be willing to work with us on that process and anticipate a vote sometime either in the summer or the fall, depending on how things break over the next couple of months. So the point is, I've let the...
I'm on the Zoom meeting down here. Okay.
The point is, I have let them know that the town meetings are officially postponed. And I will continue to keep them up to date on what's going on. I also wanted to mention, Greg, that in the context of that MCPPO class, the MSBA wanted to make it clear to all the cities and towns around the Commonwealth that they're continuing to fund jobs, that they want to see jobs move forward, and that they are very much alive, well, and doing the best they can to move forward virtually. There is going to be an MSBA board meeting on April 15th where they're going to do normal business virtually, just as we are today, and that they are moving forward. So thank you.
Richard?
Yes.
Richard, if you
I'm
could
here.
say what MCPPO stands for, please?
Sure. So it's the Mass, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's Public Purchasing Officer, Certified Public Purchasing Officer, I think it is. Every 3 years, we take a refresher course. So I took one of the first courses, I believe it is now 12 years ago. It's offered by the Inspector General's office, and it's required of all owners, project managers, and all architects who are practicing in Massachusetts doing this sort of work. So every 3 years, we do a refresher class, and that happened to be held on Tuesday of this week. And several members of the MSBA management, including John Jump, who is the kind of the numbers person at MSBA, and Diane Sullivan, who works with a lot of the communities, both were presenters in that conference. And they asked that we all make it clear that, again, the MSBA is open for business. Obviously, things are taking longer to process than they used to, but they are definitely moving forward, and they wanted cities and towns to move forward as best they can during this time.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Kent, would you have a few minutes to just speak up as to where you're at with the process? You're just on hold, or I know you're not in the office, but could you let us know what's going on, please?
Yeah, we did the model. Right now, no one's coming into the office, so we can't build that second model. But we can work on that animation, and I know I received a comment from you to maybe slow it down a little bit, so we can do that. And if anybody else has any input on the animation, we can do that as well. And we're also just kind of getting, a review of the overall plans. We're not really coming to a standstill. We always want to kind of keep it going. And so we still have 2 people who are kind of plugging away, as well as myself, with these meetings. But right now, we have the animation, and we're working on some other 3D views.
Right. Thanks, Kent.
So Kent,
Thanks for the artist renderings.
was outstanding.
Go ahead, Todd, please.
Oh, great.
It's, I've been around that school for 25, 30 years, and it got me excited. So it's fantastic. Well done.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
some of the pieces,
go ahead.
yeah. I'll just add, some of the areas we, want to explore a little further with just some 3D views are the research center and maybe the main cafeteria, some interior spaces. There were some watercolor renderings done outside, but we want to do a couple inside to kind of show some of the educational aspects, not just the exterior. So that's what we're doing right now.
Nice.
I also just let the committee know that also in the central office hearing room, there are other larger boards that Kent brought down, exploded views of some of the parts of the project. So when we have a chance to display those publicly, that'll be great. To again, expand upon the one board that's been out there for months now. It's getting long in the tooth. We would just like to bring something new to the public when they're ready for it. And of course, I should have added to my comments. Part of the reason we're kind of backpedaling or not slowing down a little bit is that this is not really the time to be bombarding folks about the project. We want them to settle in and deal with the crises in their families and their personal lives, so that when we do have a schedule from the 4 towns, we can regroup and move forward. We have planned to do a couple of videos through the studio up at the high school about the project in lieu of the 4 forums that we were scheduled to do. So at some point, we'll have those ready to go, and get some input from all of you and put those on the air, studio and all the websites and also the town sites as well. I want to just touch upon a little bit on the website. It's we had a crash, as you know, a month or two ago, and Christina worked very hard with the server company to bring it back live. 2 weeks ago, the documents section crashed, and Christina's been working really hard from home to rebuild it. So please go online. She rebuilt it. It's a little more easy to follow because it's broken up in different sections. The presentations, the minutes, the agendas are all different sections now. So it's easier to find certain documents in certain parts of the project. And I want to thank Christine very much for all that work. Also, the FAQs that we worked on, they're on the website as well. They've been well received. And as we move forward, if there's others that come up and people want other questions added to that, we can easily do that with moving that forward. So at this point, I'd like to do is any of those committee members, we haven't met for a while. If there's something you want to ask, something we haven't covered or you want us to cover, please indicate, and Mike will let us know who wants to speak. Please go ahead, folks.
Yeah, I have a question. There'd been discussion about 120 days. What about a second 120? Just some confusion as far as what's going to happen in the fall and timeframes, and how tight are we on this to get it to the towns, to get it to a vote, is part of the question.
Thanks. I'll take that one. I had the same notion that another 120 days seemed like a logical, this is Richard Marks again, by the way, that 120 days seemed like another logical increment to request. At this point, they haven't asked us for anything specific, but I agree with you. It would seem to me that rather than ask for, say, 30 days and then another 30 days, maybe we really just extend it out for a fairly long period of time, like another 120 days, and then see if they will go with that. The reason that they don't want to extend it indefinitely, of course, is that they want to be able to commit funds to other schools. They don't want to tie up funds because they reserve the funds for our school on the basis that it's been approved by the board and hopefully by the 4 towns. But nevertheless, I agree with you, given the circumstances, it would seem like the sensible thing would be to extend a vote closer to a fall time period, which, as you said, is more like 240 days from February.
Greg, can
One
you
other
see Jackie's
question.
hand?
I'm sorry.
Greg, can you see Jackie's hand?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead. Jackie, go ahead, please.
Jackie, you need to
Can't hear you.
unmute your microphone, Jackie.
So sorry. Hi.
Hi.
Maybe this will help in terms of answering the question too, because I think as towns, we have a conundrum right now. And if you bear with me, I'll explain what the town meeting delay conundrum really is. I think it would be unreasonable for the MSBA to not allow us a further extension, given that it is the emergency order of the governor. We cannot have town meeting, right, until he's lifted his ban. So that strikes me as kind of an immediate dispensation from one higher than the MSBA. But in terms of us, what the legislation that was passed allows the towns to do their town meetings up to and beyond June 30, which is fine. However, it does not allow us to delay elections beyond June 30. And given the fact that this is going to be a ballot question because it's borrowing a huge amount of money, so all the towns, I'm assuming, all the towns will want to debt exclude this money. So it's a ballot question. There is a possibility that we will have a ballot question on an election that comes before a town meeting. So I'm trying to figure out how we do that. If we, for instance, the town of Eastham has scheduled town meeting for June 15th, we will be, and the election would be June 23rd. If we postpone town meeting and we can't postpone the election, then citizens will have to vote on this project, whether to fund it or not, at the election, and then come back and vote at town meeting. That has not ever been done before in Eastham, so it would be a unique situation. So what I'm trying to do is separate it into sort of Plan A and Plan B, where we have a town meeting date in June and then perhaps a town meeting date in late August or early September with another election. But this is a 4-election year anyway for our town clerk. So I'd like to line that up with an election that's already scheduled. And there's one in September on the 1st and one in November. So those are the issues that we're still grappling with too. I think all of us can figure out, okay, if we go forward with the Springtown meeting in June, that's great. But what if we can't? And then that leads to the election question. So I'm working with our attorney next week to try and figure out any possible creative solutions to that.
Thanks, Jackie. Chris Easley had another question.
Yeah, I had another question, but Harry, go first because it's not on this subject. I think Harry wants to address this one.
Yeah, the situation is very definitely in flux. The legislature is still grappling with some of these issues. Multiple towns have postponed town meetings. One solution, and I'm mindful of Jackie's comments about already 4 elections in this calendar year, is you can hold a special election for a debt exclusion.
Yes.
So it is possible to sequence this after the town meeting vote. You know, there is some expense involved in calling an election for just one ballot question, but that might be preferable to asking people to vote on a debt exclusion without really getting a chance to present the project at a town meeting first and get hopefully town meeting support.
Thanks, Harry.
Yep.
Chris, go ahead.
So the question I have is, back in 2008, under the Obama administration, there was a lot of money that was sent out after the downturn because, you know, shovel-ready projects. Is there a chance, or anyone who was around then that had been involved in school projects, that money might be available for our project as a result of our economic problems?
Greg, I can take that one briefly.
Please.
I was around then. I've been around through about 3 of these recessions. There were not school projects specifically funded in that round, but that round, in retrospect, many people feel wasn't very well implemented because it tended to look for certain types of projects, and many of them were probably projects that shouldn't have been built. They were shovel ready and not being built for a reason. I think that from what I've read through the trade publications, is that there's more of an interest this time, if there is an infrastructure bill that comes out, that they will look to try to do long-term projects like schools, like bridges, of course, and roads. So I think there's an opportunity here that federal funding might be in place to help supplement the state funding and perhaps bring that over.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Anybody else in the committee have questions, or anybody else tuning in? Nope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yep,
sorry.
Kathleen, please.
I have a question regarding, the June 30th date and town meeting with regards to the people that are involved in the PAC grouping, and how could we fairly ask them to do anything in regards to that, given the situation and social distancing? So that puts us at a distinct disadvantage, and I would hope that that would be considered.
I agree, Kathleen. I mean, right now, everybody, as I said, really dealing with crises in their own families. Parents involved with the PAC group have kind of backed off. I have a hard time getting a hold of them because they're dealing with these different issues. So at some point, we'll have to regroup, but if we have a schedule, that'd be great. Again, I know Jackie and her cohorts in other 3 towns are all grappling with the same thing. Brewster's scheduled. an election for late June, but no town meeting. So, and they're still grappling with that as well. So the landscape is all over the place. I know that Wellfleet tentatively scheduled a town meeting, if I'm right, for the 1st or 15th of June, but that's still tentative. So again, we have a kind of a lineup of where people are at. We can have a longer chat about the what ifs and how we approach it.
Yeah, Greg, this is Harry.
Yes, Harry?
Yeah, that was June 1st, but the discussion was very much, that's a placeholder. We're likely going to have to do something different once we get more information. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't treat that date as a firm date at all. It
Right.
could extend beyond that.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Okay, so yeah, the next thing on the agenda is bills to pay, because we have contractors that need to pay their people even though they're not in the office. So
Great.
Gino,
Could I touch base on that last topic before we move on?
oh, sure, Chris, go ahead, please.
So, I mean, the thought process is that there's so much dust in the air right now. It's very difficult to determine what is the best path forward. And an awful lot of work has gone into this project, and it's important. I mean, it's important, but until the dust settles and until things become clearer, we really can't decide what the best path forward is. The towns have to do their role first. There has been some discussion on things that could be done, but you can't make decisions until we have some idea of what the future, meaning, I mean, the economy for one, but also the towns and what they're going to do as far as their timeframes, and also what the economic impact's going to be, so we can react correctly to the situation. And so I think that that's where we stand, and decisions won't be able to be made until things get a little clearer.
Oh,
That was just my.
No, to that point, Chris, the other thing we haven't even brought up is the vote by the regional school committee to vote the language of the article. You have folks that put that off because of all the stuff that's going on, and that starts the 60-day clock, as we know, with regards to the actions by the town. So all the pieces have to dovetail together, and hopefully we can get that set and have folks at the table to have that discussion, or some forum like this to have that discussion to make sure everybody understands what's going on. And I see Jackie is another point. Please, Jackie, and then Harry.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention, because I think it is significant, I really believe that it's significant, that I know Eastham isn't a particular worry that Brewster is more vital to this project, but the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee have endorsed this building project all unanimously.
Thank you.
It has received tremendous support from the leadership of the town, and they think it's more essential than ever. So I think that that's really intriguing to me. And I can't imagine that parents, once they come out of this situation, won't come out with an appreciation of how important school is to our kids. So that's just an aside. It doesn't mean that that's the trend for the whole region, but I wanted to applaud Nauset for how you're managing the situation. I think it's been amazing. You've done an amazing, amazing job. And I think the towns are supporting you.
Harry?
Yeah, one of the issues that the Massachusetts Moderators Association flagged to the legislature was exactly this 60-day window to disapprove that towns have and just so everybody's clear, under the regional school district borrowing statute that we operate under, the regional school committee votes to borrow the money, and towns have 60 days to vote to disapprove by a majority vote at a town meeting. So if a town fails to hold a town meeting, they've failed to disapprove the vote and it's approved. The legislature does not look like they clearly dealt with extending that deadline during the period of the shutdown. I've read the legislation, and if it's in there, I can't find it. So that's why I emailed Greg and Tom and Chris, I think, and cautioned about not having the school committee vote under circumstances where it would look like we were forcing the towns to do something that they couldn't do if they wanted to weigh in on this project. Second comment, unrelated, is it seems to me that the pressure point in the public discussion on this project is school choice. And I would hope that between the school committee and the parents group that they put together a clear defense of the school choice decision, because that seems to be the place where this project is most exposed to political risk. And with that, I'll be quiet again.
Tom, you want to take that answer or comment on that, Tom Conrad?
Well, we've rolled out that two-page document that we put together relative to choice, and it seems to be very well received. And so we can probably, the other committee members seen that, Greg?
Not that I'm aware of, but
So
we can,
we should send that out then.
yep, okay,
We'll send it to all the members tomorrow morning.
okay. Thanks, Tom.
But it is our answer to choice, and from a historical and current situation, so.
The other piece of news for the group is that the Board of Selectmen in Brewster have voted to support the project unanimously again by supporting the warrant article when they put the warrant together 3 weeks ago. So we have their support as well. The Finance Committee has not met, so they haven't weighed in yet. But there is some good news on the horizon, obviously. We just want to make sure that we have enough chance to inform people as to where we are and make our final points to be positive about supporting the project. That's what the forums were supposed to be for, but we have to rework that. Anybody else? Okay. Is Jim Nowak in?
Yes, he came in late.
Hey, there, there he is. Jim, you're up. You got bills for us, right?
I do. I haven't put them together. Should I just do them? I'll tell you, can I make one motion with a total and then read all the bills individually for one vote?
Sure, because it's going to be a roll call vote, so I have to go one person at a time. So
Okay.
go ahead, please.
All right. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills on warrant dated today, 4/8, totaling $189,807. It includes an invoice number 20028, dataless, for $4,000. Includes invoice 01822. Oh, invoice, no, that was invoice 0031755 to Flansburgh. This is for Fuss and O'Neill for some environmental site assessments, $3,960. Another invoice from Flansburgh, invoice 0031880 for $59,375. That was for September services. Then we have another Flansburgh invoice 0031971, November services for $59,375. Another Flansburgh invoice, I know we haven't paid any of these before, for 0032031, February service for $59,375. Invoice for Latanzi Spalding and Landreth, invoice number 972. These are all for our land issues or title clearing issues.
Yep.
For $1,360. Another one for Spalding and Landreth, March 11th, invoice 10025. Again, the land issued for $960. Thompson's Printing to print our brochure, invoice, let's see, 122412 for $1,402. And that's all of them.
Okay, that's a motion. I have a second. I'll second it. Okay, so I'm going to call the roll. All those in favor, Tom Conrad,
Yes.
Tom Ferris,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Jody Craven,
Gotta unmute.
Jody is not in the room.
okay. Kathleen, well, you're on.
Yes.
Peter Wade,
Yes.
Jackie Beebe,
Uh,
Yes.
Donna Riley,
Yes.
Harry,
Harry votes yes.
Ron Collins,
Yes.
Chris Easley,
Chris Easley votes yes.
is Chris Elsasser on?
Yes.
Okay, so you vote yes or you are on?
Yes to both.
Giovanna?
Yes.
Okay, and the chair votes yes. Did I miss anything? Dave Tellman, is he on?
He was.
I thought. And
He's on,
Donna
but
Riley, I got you right? Okay. So the vote is unanimous, and the record will so reflect.
Dave is there.
Oh, okay. I just want to touch real quick on the issue of the land title. Harry mentioned, or excuse me, Ben Zender is still working on it. He has obviously been slowed down by not people being in the office, but he's still working on the process because part of the language of the MSBA vote is at some point they want us to have clear title to the entire parcel, not just the construction site. So they're working on that. And to that end, and Jackie can correct me, I believe there's still an article on the town meeting for Eastham to potentially do a revote of the gift from Eastham to the Nauset School District, some point in the near future. Correct, Jackie?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. So next item is the minutes for February 12th. I know that Wendy sent out the corrected version sometime today. So I'll take a motion for approving the minutes of February 12th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Again, all those in favor, I'll go around the room. Tom Conrad,
Yes.
Giovanna,
Yes.
Jim Nowak,
Yes.
Chris Easley,
Yes.
Chris Elsasser,
Yes.
Ron Collins.
Ron Collins abstain.
Okay, Harry,
Harry votes yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Donna Riley,
Abstain.
Tony, and then he's Ian? Tony, no, okay. Tom Ferris?
He's unmuted and he didn't hear you.
No.
Yeah, Tom's muted.
I'll unmute him.
There he is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Lisa,
Yes.
I'll try Jody again. Jody Craven? Nope. Kathleen?
Yes.
Okay, Dave Tillman, and then Jackie on the minutes.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. All right, so we have that vote. Anything else, folks, want to bring up before we,
Greg?
yes, Peter?
Peter, I should correct something that Jackie said. The Finance Committee actually didn't vote in support. We discussed it, but it was the couple days before they had that meeting of the Finance Committee chairman, and they wanted Jerry to go to that meeting before we voted. So we're going to vote on it on our next meeting.
Okay,
But everyone that spoke in favor of it at the meeting.
okay. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for that clarification.
And I did get the letter from the finance committee that said they were for. I have it right.
Government at work. motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second. Okay, John, okay. I'll go around again, last time, folks, I promise. Tom Conrad,
Yes.
Gio, Lana,
Yes.
Jim Nowak,
Jim says yes.
okay. Chris Easley,
Yes.
Chris Elsasser,
Yes.
Ron Collins,
Yes.
Harry,
Murray says yes.
Peter,
Yes.
John O'Reilly,
Yes.
Tom Ferris,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
and Jackie.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all very much, and we'll be in touch as soon as we have the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.